Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your man Akin, and welcome to today's vlog. We are in week 11 of the season. Yes, sir. Just a couple of weeks left. Here are this week's key matchups to look at. Beginning with number 1 Oregon playing at Cal. Now, Cal is undefeated at home, but I believe that the Oregon should win this game. Their offense is just too much. They're unbeatable. LaMichael James, Jeff Mayo, Darren Thomas. What a great trio. So go with the Ducks on this one. Next, I have number 24 Kansas State playing at number 17 Missouri. Now, Missouri is just coming off their second straight loss to Texas Tech last week. They have to bounce back to where they were earlier in the season. Blaine Gabbert, he struggled for the past couple of games. I believe that this game they will get back to where they were earlier in the season, with the defense playing great and the offensive receivers is having big games. TJ Moe is their primary target. Look for him to have a big game. So I'm going to have to go with Missouri, like I said. Next, I have Georgia playing at number 2 Auburn. The reason why this game is important is because LSU needs Auburn to lose this game and lose next week's game against Alabama in order for them to play for the SEC championship. Georgia just have a terrible team. Whack. So I'm going to go with Auburn. That should be an easy pick. Now next, I have Penn State playing at Ohio State. Now, last week, Penn State won against Northwestern, giving Joe Paterno his 400th career victory. At the end of the game, he was already focused on Ohio State, telling the crowd that it's time to beat them. So, this is a big game for them because Ohio State is still in the hunt to win the Big Ten championship. And the game is at Ohio State, so I'm going to have to go with the Buckeyes. Terrell Pryor should have a big game with Devier Prosey as his best receiver. They're a good 1-2 punch, and their chemistry is just great. So look for the Buckeyes to win. Next, a good game to look at is Virginia Tech at North Carolina. Both teams have well-balanced offenses with great quarterbacks in T.J. Yates for North Carolina and Tyrod Taylor for Virginia Tech. For Taylor, he's having his best season yet. I'm going to go with the Hokies on this one. Next game to look at is number 25 Texas A&M at Baylor. Now, Baylor lost last week to Oklahoma State, and Texas A&M is doing great, coming back from starting off the season bad. Last week they beat Oklahoma, which was a big game. I believe the final score was 33-19. They just did great, and I just believe that since they're turning their season around, I'm going to go with Texas A&M on this one. They're ranked to number 25, and they are the team that I thought they were. After beating Oklahoma, they just showed the nation that they are the team that everybody was expecting them to be. They should have just did it early in the season, but couldn't. But they're bouncing back, and they're doing good. So I'm going to go with Texas A&M. Next game to look at is number 19 Mississippi State playing at number 12 Alabama. In order for the key impact that Mississippi State needs to have is their defensive line. If the defensive line just slows down Alabama's running game, they should do well. Last week against LSU, Alabama just struggled in the run game. LSU defensive tackle Drake Nevis had 7 tackles, a sack, and a forced fumble. He had a big game. Now, based on his performance, Mississippi State should create a great defensive scheme, the same defensive scheme as LSU, in order to beat Alabama. I'm going to go with the Tide on this one, because the Tide, after losing a second game in the season, I believe that they're a little angry at themselves, and they will get back and win for the next couple of games. Alright, the next game to look at is number 10 Oklahoma State playing at my favorite school, Texas. Texas needs to win this game in order to be bowl eligible. I mean, come on. How can you go play for a national title last season, but barely make it to a bowl this year? But they haven't even made a bowl yet. They have to win this game and as well as their remaining games in order to be bowl eligible. But Oklahoma State has an explosive offense. Their receiver Justin Blackmon is having probably one of the best seasons an Oklahoma receiver has ever had. Just like Hartley Dykes it back in the 80s. But I believe he's a lot better than him. Last week he came back from a suspension and had 175 yards receiving, going back to the top of the nation in that category. So, for this game, I'm going to go with the Cowboys. Texas has just been struggling so much this season, and they're wishy-washy. I don't know. They're not consistent. I'm going to go with Oklahoma. Now, my upset pick of the week, I have USC over number 18 Arizona. Running back Nick Grisby is coming back from an injury, but he is still banged up from last week's game. Plus, Nick Foles is still kind of banged up as well, coming off of his knee injury. So I'm gonna have to go with USC because I believe that they have a better offense than Arizona. And last year, Arizona beat USC, so USC is looking for some revenge. Now, my game of the week is very important. It's basically for the SEC East Championship. South Carolina at Florida. Plain and simple. If South Carolina does not win, they should just fire Steve Spurrier. Fire him. He has not won, and he has not even been to an SEC championship since he's been here. Since he's been at South Carolina. This is his 6th year. If he doesn't win this year, get him out. Just get him out. I'm tired of it. They need a new coach if they do not win this game. I'm going to go with South Carolina because there's so much pressure on him. I'm just going to go with them. I believe that he has just enough magic to win this week. But I don't think they're going to win the SEC championship, but they should make it this year. Thank you for watching today's show. I'm Akin McCall. Be easy.